Hello, I'm 16 WAPT's Erin Pickens. It goes without saying that 2020 was a year of challenges. We faced new threats in the COVID-19 pandemic and historic outbreaks of severe weather. But we also saw old threats rise to the surface with a new ferocity. With the killing of George Floyd in Minneapolis, a new spotlight was now shining on the centuries-old issue of systemic racism and violent racism. And a new civil rights movement exploded across the nation. Mississippi was no exception, spawning the largest march for civil rights in the history of our state right here in Jackson. It was clear that our community was aching for change, desperately seeking any opportunity to have their voices heard, to discuss the issues that truly mattered in this moment. Driven by this need in our community and inspired by our company's dedication to amplify those voices, 16 WAPT's Mississippi Matters was born.
How would I define Mississippi Matters? You know, I think it's an opportunity for people to have a conversation that's really important that they might not otherwise be able to have, and hear from people who have perspectives and expertise in these areas that they might not necessarily be able to hear from. And I think it's just a really great conversation starter that we can carry on in our communities.
A 30-minute weekly public affairs program, Mississippi Matters had one goal: to get the community talking about the issues impacting them most: racial healing, the state flag, violence in our streets, how to educate our children in the middle of a pandemic. Each week, we tackle these and other topics through interviews with local experts, leaders, community organizers, pastors, and educators. We started this project with the intention of producing just 8 episodes. We surpassed our goal, completing a total of 16 with plans to continue in 2021.
I hope after watching an episode that the biggest takeaway people have is that there are a lot of people in Jackson who really care about the community, who really care about the city, and want to see it do better and are committed to doing it. And we have a lot of ideas, and it's just time for us to have the conversations to place those ideas into motion.
Many people are riding a high of emotions right now because they never thought they'd see the day the flag in Mississippi would come down. But this is not a magical moment because it doesn't erase the fact that there is still work to be done. Governor Musgrove, let's start with you. This major hurdle has been cleared, but what else needs to be done?
So what we must see is we must see more than symbols changed. We must see actual policies change. Everyone having and being treated properly and correctly and fairly.
Never forget from whence you come.
Conversation is the way to begin racial healing.
If we don't make a student feel loved, then the rest won't happen.
And certainly stand together arm in arm to fight for what's right.
Of course, launching a brand new program in the middle of a pandemic was not without challenges. With the help of our community partners like the United Way and with some creative engineering, we designed a system that allowed for up to 3 simultaneous interviews, all while keeping everyone involved socially distanced and safe.
COVID had a huge impact on the way the show was produced. One, we really couldn't do everything in studio, so we turned our boardroom into a studio. And then we had to make sure that everyone was 6 feet apart. We had to make sure that everyone had remote access.
In November, Mississippi's heated Senate election took Mississippi Matters to prime time, providing voters with the only back-to-back exclusive interviews with Senate candidates Mike Espy and Cindy Hyde-Smith, and the closest voters got to a senatorial debate.
We've got to stabilize this economy. We've got to make sure that everybody is up and working and providing for their families.
So I want to go to Washington, bring diversity, bring welcomeness, bring inclusion, experience. I don't care who you are, race, age, sex, gender.
As broadcasters, our greatest responsibility is to our viewers and to our communities. We inform, we protect, we investigate, day in and day out. With 16 WAPT's Mississippi Matters, we have one more tool, one more megaphone to give a voice to the voiceless, to amplify the need for equality, diversity, inclusion, and change. As we enter a new year, we plan to keep that conversation going, to keep our communities talking, relentlessly pursuing the belief that Mississippi matters. We're Jackson 16 WAPT. I'm Erin Pickens, and thank you for consideration of Mississippi Matters for the 2020 Service to America Award.